to audit and risk.
Yes, now,
because of time.
Yeah, because of time, I will ask Audit and Risk from Bruce Robertson, who's joining us on Zoom. I understand you've got to get away, Bruce, so the floor is yours.
Look, I do, thank you.
And Michael's here as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Phil and Mary. Appreciate the invitation to be at the meeting. This follows on from our discussion last Thursday at the AMRC, where whereas we have quarterly quite rightly reviewed the process and process risks associated with the long-term plan. And as part of the recommendations, which may not have been seen by full council, the committee resolved that the ARMC recommends council recognise the risk of not confirming the LTP on the 25th of June 24. I suspect that actually should be Thursday the 27th, by the way, Phil, because of material amendments. Now, what does that mean? I think yesterday, Karen may well have circulated an email from me to Bede over the weekend, just reflecting on what needs to occur this week, which, Phil, as you well said, is the adoption of the LTP. But at our discussion last Thursday, there was some concern expressed about the extent of possible amendments being recommended today. And I just wanted and appreciate the chance to reflect to council actually the importance of an adopted LTP come Thursday. And the importance of the LTP on Thursday is, as you've said, Phil, sets the work program for the new year, which obviously starts on 1 July. And that's important for a whole bunch of reasons. Decisions that are embodied inside the LTP, and particularly the funding, the rating impact that again is embodied inside the LTP. While I don't want to comment on any individual amendment, we've got your amendments, Phil. We clearly have a suite of other recommended amendments by councillors, which is totally understood by the committee. We were just concerned that as you go into this day, council be aware of the implication of making amendments which the committee has said are material. Now, I must confess with an apology, that's an accountant's view of the world, what constitutes material. It isn't far different from your significance and engagement policy, which is actually making an amendment which otherwise would be considered significant in terms of your obligations to make decisions. So the email, which I trust has been circulated, sets out that actually if amendments are of such size, and we can define whether they're material or whether they're significant, and you've got your significance and engagement policy to do that, to make a decision that was of that nature today is going to impair, from a process perspective, the ability of management to prepare and finalise a long-term plan for Thursday. And if that becomes a problem, it raises questions about the doability. There's a word that's been used a lot this year by our auditors, the doability of this long-term plan by 1 July. I want to stress that our comments from the committee are not attempting to stop good democratic processes. Council is entitled to make the decisions that it believes it needs to make today around its long-term plan. But as I want to reflect as the incoming committee chair, the nature of decisions you make today could impact and affect the adoption of the long-term plan at 1 July if the decisions you propose today are of such size or of such significance that it requires substantial more work. A couple of other quick comments, Phil. The LTP is integrated. So if you propose look, I'm pulling something out of the air here. Perhaps you propose not to fully fund your renewals and you want to take on more debt. That could be a viable consideration. But actually, what it does mean from a process perspective is it changes many parts of the long-term plan. And if you were to make such a material decision today, it would take staff some reasonable time to work through all the implications for your long-term plan. And as I note in my email to Bede of yesterday, it also means that our auditor will be challenged to be able to provide an opinion. So that's the first point I want to make. Second point is, what are you trying to do on Thursday? Well, essentially, it's to adopt the LTP, receive the audit opinion, and recognise and in effect commence the rating process. If that's stopped, it actually creates real challenges to be able to get the first instalment out on the basis that you want with an adopted LTP. The Rating Act does enable rates to still occur at the first instalment. It's just it won't be as you would want it through whatever is the final adopted LTP. So look, at this stage, Phil, I feel like I'm grateful that you've had me here because I wanted to characterise and explain more why the committee has sent this recommendation to council. But it's to reflect you've had 18 months to make decisions. You're coming very close to a point where we need that final decision. Mm-hmm. Significant or material decisions today risk and have implications for what you need to do on Thursday. One other final comment, sorry, because I said that would be my final comment. Some councils are going out to 30 September and they have adopted that view on the basis of the current dispensation in the Act for dealing with 3 waters. And some have chosen to do that. But all of the ones that I have an engagement with, they're still trying to minimise the impact of processing the LTP in this coming 3-month period, so that they can still adopt largely in July or at the latest early August to be able to hit the first instalment requirement. So even though some may have taken the dispensation, they're still effectively trying to do what I would urge Christchurch to do, which is this week to adopt their final LTP without significant amendments. If there were a desire for significant amendments, I would like to suggest that really is for the coming annual plan, which needs to start virtually tomorrow. I'm sorry about that. Or indeed, if it was so significant, it really needs to be an amendment to hopefully an adopted LTP come this Thursday. Phil, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully that's given a sense. I'm open to questions before I need to leave.
Thank you, Bruce. That was very clear. So clear, in fact, we haven't got any questions. Michael, have you got anything we'd like to add?
No, I think that was a very good summary from Bruce around what was one of the, I guess, the time we spent most on last week at our meeting. As you are aware, I was here back in February, commented on the process that got us to the draft LTP. As a committee, we've been kept well informed of progress since then, getting an update at our April meeting. And so at our meeting last week, it was really to consider all of those documents that have been pulled together, spend a lot of time talking to management around those risks that Bruce has explained very, very clearly, and then resolving at the end of all of that, you should be aware of that risk, but we believe a good process and an appropriate process has been followed to get us to where we are today.
Thank you very much. All right, shall we move on to the next audit? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll now invite Chantel